Good afternoon, Quadcopter 101, and I think I have a really interesting flight for you today. This is my B17 bomber. I just got it from GearBest. Really cool. I've been doing some aircraft flying recently in preparation for 4-channel aircraft like this one. What's cool about this one is this one includes gyroscopic sensors in it, not to prevent you from crashing. It will let you nosedive in effect. This one will, but the sensors will sense rapid turbulence, such as from an air gust, and will try to automatically compensate against turbulence. So it's somewhat easier than flying just by the stick alone, but it's not totally crash proof. It will in effect nosedive if you give it too much pitch, and it will also roll over if you give it too much roll. So what I'm going to do today is, let's go over the details of this first off. It includes 4 8.5 by 20 millimeter quadcopter motors in effect. That's what's inside here. They're geared with a pinion gear and a main gear to reduce the RPM to enable the use of actual aircraft propellers. These seem to be pretty much scale propellers on this thing, so this is going to be interesting to see if they actually work with this. What other things about it? The controller itself, you can control low, beginner rate, and expert rate by this button here. Other features of this is it's mode 2, so this is your pitch, this is your roll, this is your throttle, and of course this is your yaw. You also, let me put this B17 on the ground here, control the gyro sensitivity. If you want to turn off the gyros entirely, you just turn this clockwise, full clockwise until it stops. But if you want the gyros on to prevent bouncing around, you increase the sensitivity of the gyros by turning them to the left here. And there's some, it's kind of hard to bind this aircraft. This aircraft doesn't bind normally like a helicopter does. You have to do a weird thing is you turn on the aircraft by plugging in the battery, wait 3 seconds for the gyros to initialize, then you press down and up on the pitch trim button, and then you turn on the transmitter and hold that button until you get a rapid flash of the light, this light LED light here. Then you let go of the button and it should switch from red to green, indicating that the aircraft is bound. The battery that's used in this airplane is the kind of batteries that you normally see on quadcopters. Namely, it's a gum pack type battery. I got another one in my pocket here from my quadcopter days. But this is my force power, but it's the same. It's a 3.7 volt. This one's 25C. I believe this one's only 20C battery. But that's what's in there. That's what's powering this thing. It has JST connector for plugging into the aircraft itself, and it also has a white connector that you normally see on little micros. Mainly you use this with a charger. The charger that comes with this aircraft is a white charger. Well, we're here in Indian Wells Canyon today. We're flying here today because Satellite Lake is turned back into a lake again. We've had a lot of rains recently. So what I'm going to do is use the Los Angeles Aqueduct Road, which we have here, as our landing field, an aircraft takeoff field. And the wind is coming from that general direction, so I am going to have to go down there and set myself up, and we're going to go for a flight of this thing. So stand by, and I hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, we have about 3 to 5 knot wind coming from my car over there. Now again, to bind this thing, the wind's blowing it backwards. Let's see if we can fight this wind. You hold down the throttle trim button while turning the transmitter on. And after about 3 seconds, you should see a rapid blinking. And then you let go, and hopefully that turns to green. And if you don't get a green, you got to start over again. 1001, 1002, 1003. Okay, I've bound the transmitter to this, but I want to show you what the gyros do. Notice the ailerons. Now, if I do a quick turn to the left, it tries to automatically counter, rapid movements of the aircraft. In effect, so if you get a lot of turbulence, this thing tries to balance itself. Same with if you're going down and you do a rapid up, the elevator does the same. Same with the rudder. The rudder counters the effects. So all this does is it tries to cushion or dampen oscillations caused by turbulence from the wind. Okay, but you cannot depend on this to prevent it from crashing. You still got to fly this aircraft. So let's go for a flight. I am going to keep this in medium sensitivity of those gyros, and I'm going to keep this in low rate. And here we go. Pretty cool, huh? Now you can still stall this thing out, so you need to be careful with it. Let's go see what happened. I really should have kept that over the other end of the lip here. I lost the nose cone. Let's take a look for that nose cone here. In the meantime, let's turn off those gyros. Good morning, Quadcopter 101, and welcome to Dawn Patrol. Here's another flight of my Boeing B17 bomber. Actually, it's not from Boeing, but this one isn't from Boeing. But today's flight is a continuation of my last flight. My last flight was up in the mountains there, up in one of the canyons there, and it was just a little bit too breezy for this this airplane. I hit a gust there, and I went in and it nosedived, and it hit hard. And actually, I bent, I believe it was this wingtip, and I bent it more than it is. This isn't a natural curve, it's supposed to be in there, but it was easily repaired. I dipped it in hot water, and that's a quick tip for you folks. If you bend up these a foam component, you can straighten it out pretty easily by just dipping it in hot water. It causes the foam, air bubbles in the foam to expand, and it straightens out pretty easily. But today's flight is on a less windy day. I wanted to demonstrate, and I guess I did demonstrate, what the difference is in 3-axis stabilized gyros versus a 6-axis system like the A600, which has the addition of accelerometers which correct for wind gusts. This one does not have that, and you saw what happened up there. I got a wind gust, and even with the auto stabilization of the gyros, it wasn't able to compensate for that wind gust that nosed me over. But this still, there's no wind today, so it shouldn't be a problem. So we're going to go for a flight of this B17 again here at Satellite Lake, since Satellite Lake is finally dried out. I'm going to also include an 808 keychain camera for this flight. So I hope you enjoy this flight. Let's go into it, and I'll start everything up, and we'll start up with the flight itself. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, I have the airplane already bound. The camera is recording. To bind this, again, you have to set this to the middle position, the gyro calibration, and you have to have the switch up all the way, and then you hold down the pitch trim while turning on the transmitter at the same time, and hold that down until this thing starts to beep, and then you let go, and you got to wait a few seconds, and it should come up with a green bound light to indicate you're bound to the transmitter. So right now I'm checking the ailerons. Ailerons seem good. Checking the elevator. Elevator needs a little trim, it looks like. I'm going to leave it like that for now. We'll find out once we get into the air, or the rudder. Actually, let me fix that. Okay, that looks about better. The elevators, let's check them. They're going up and down, and the throttle seems good. So, here we go, of the second flight of the B17 bomber. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, with that camera on board, I'm really pushing it. Gotta turn a little faster, I can't go over the pits. And obviously I need to trim it to the right a bit. But yeah, it's flying with it. That camera is a tad heavy for it. Let me trim it up a bit too. Now again, this thing's running. Damn. Let's go see what I did. This thing is running with 4 quadcopter motors. I hope I didn't mess it up too bad. Let's go over and see if it's still in flying shape. Oh, it seems to be in flying shape. Let me check. Damn. Camera's still on. Let me turn the camera off again and then turn it back on again. I dented up the turret, but other than that, it seems good. Let's try it again. Very surprising. This time I am going to set these gyros to a higher setting. Obviously I'm having little issues with my abilities here, so I'm putting it more toward beginner. Let's go for another flight. And this time I want to trim the pitch up a bit. Wow. Still flies. Cool. It's very gentle now since I turned up the gyros a bit. So apparently that's what I needed to do. I had it too sensitive. I'm still not a good 4-channel flyer. I'm not super proficient at it. I had a little bit of drop out there with the motors, but being that this is an airplane, a drop out is not a big deal. Let's see if I can turn the other direction instead of just going clockwise. There, these gyro settings are, I got it set more to beginner. That makes it much easier to fly. Center position was not very good for me. But I turned it counterclockwise, the settings on this. It makes it a much gentler flyer. The default center position I don't think is very good. I'm going to stall it. I don't want to stall it. Some more throttle. Did it again. I got to stay more focused. That was a touch and go. I'm just using the rudder, less use of the ailerons. Let's see if I can do a landing now before I finalize. crack up here. I don't want to do any more crack ups. How's it doing? So you can see I'm not really proficient as a 4-channel flyer. How's my camera doing? Let me take a look at it. It withstood those smack ups. I'm going to turn the camera off and on again because I want to do one more flight. It's pretty proficient, or I mean it's pretty resistant to impact, as you can see there. Let's try one more flight. I got the camera recording. We'll take off in that direction for this flight. Hope it makes it back safely. Okay, I'm getting close to its range. Up there about 150 meters. And that's the flight of the B17 bomber. I'm going to call it quits for the day, folks. That was my actually my first flights with a non-stabilized, non-gyro or accelerometer stabilized aircraft. You know, let's go over real quick here before I put it away what the difference is here between this and the previous aircraft I flew, the A600. This does have auto stabilization for when you, and it's actually, you know, I have the gyros set to gently auto stabilize, but this will compensate for when you turn and you get an extremis. It's supposed to compensate for that, but it does not compensate again for wind gusts. So like accelerations forward and back, up and down, yaw, it does not automatically compensate for those type of accelerations, just for gradual banking and gradual pitch and gradual yaw turns. So that's the difference. It's using gyros instead of accelerometers added to it. So I hope you enjoyed that flight. That's my second flight of this B17. I'll be doing more. We'll see how well I get it in the coming weeks with this airplane. I'm going to practice some more with it. So I hope you enjoyed this flight of the B17 Liberty Bell. Quadcopter 101, signing out.